Hello and welcome to NWN2 Mask of the Betrayer, and this will be part 6. Anyone who watched any previous episodes will now likely notice that there's a difference in the main character. Originally I played a favorite soul in the original campaign, but the class bored me. It's a very strong class, but without buffing itself senselessly, it's not particularly good as a fighter type class, and that is apparently the only way you can really play favorite souls. And having to buff before every fight bored me. So I switched to the monk, but it occurred to me that I've spent quite a bit time on the monk in relation to Neverwinter Nights. So I was looking for an alternative. And after covering another alternative, I ended up with the Ranger, which is by and large considered to be one of the weaker base classes. It is a feature in the expansion that makes it potentially quite powerful. But there's a caveat to that. The Ranger at level 2 gets the choice to choose dual wielding or improving ranged attacks. Once whichever path has been chosen, that path will improve automatically as the Ranger level up. There are certain benchmark levels which will give you improved versions of those skills. For non-rangers, they can take the same feats, but they have very high dexterity requirements. But because the ranger gets them for free, you don't have to worry about that, so you can go for a strength-based dual wielder, which I've done. Another thing that makes the ranger unique is the favorite enemy. At character creation and every 5 levels after that, the ranger can choose a category of enemies that is a favorite enemy. Against that favorite enemy, they get +1 to damage, +1 to listen, spot, and taunt checks. And the effect stacks. So if you have 4 favorite enemies, you will have +4 to damage, listen, spot, and taunt checks against all the categories of enemies that you have selected. In that regard, though, and something I find a bit lacking, the game is not in any way, shape, or form particularly good at letting you know what type of enemies are included within the categories. I mean, some of them are obvious, but some of them are not. The manual doesn't tell you either, and unless you know beforehand by yourself or you spend time googling it or whatever, the feats can be rather funky. Elementals, rather self-explanatory. Fae, that includes spirits, not ghosts because they are undeads. Humans, whatever game you play in Dungeons and Dragons, you are bound to bump into humans, so humans is always a good bet. Outsiders, in the original campaign, Yankee, because they come from another plane, would be considered outsiders. And of course, undead. You won't have a Dungeons and Dragons game without undead of some description, so undeads and humans are definitely always fail-safe. But of course, these are relevant for the expansion, and you won't be facing off against an awful lot of neither elementals nor faes in the base game. So basically, if you level up a ranger in the base game and pick the favorite enemies that suits the base game, you are a bit screwed in the expansion. So basically, you have to play a ranger for the expansion in mind, if that's what you want to do. Another thing, quickly, when it comes to class skills, the ranger does not have any conversation skills as class skills, which means, of course, they can only have half the ranks of someone who got them as a class skill, and they cost 2 skill points for 1 point in the skill. And going through, or trying to go through, because it bugged on me, but whatever, trying to go through the original campaign with no conversation skills at all was interesting. Yeah. The base game definitely likes to throw conversation skill checks at you, and not having access to them can be incredibly painful. But I don't need to put points in craft weapon and craft armor, so I can use those points to pay the price for diplomacy, and then hopefully with items try to build it up to a reasonable level. It's never going to be excellent, but hopefully enough to pass certain diplomacy checks. One more thing before we get started. Dual wielding, normally you would want a medium weapon and a light weapon in the offhand for minimum penalties. But there was an image in one of the female portraits in Baldur's Gate 2, which depicted a woman that looked like she was dual wielding katanas. One of them could have been a wakizashi, which is basically the sister blade to the katana, a shorter version of it. And I can't remember whether wakizashis are available in this game or not. But anyway, that icon inspires me to go for dual wielding katanas. Because they're medium weapons, you can see the main hand weapons plus 29, but if I take the offhand away, it's plus 33. And that is where being a strength-based character hopefully can compensate somewhat for it. I know I could be more efficient by having a light weapon in offhand, but there's something cool about dual wielding katanas. And of course the fact that any skills you have that improves the effect of using a katana will apply to both weapons. I have played up to the point where I left off the monk. So once we come out of this door, we are going to bump into some witches. And I'm going to take that conversation with this character and move on.
Keep your distance, witches. I've studied your laws, and we've broken none.
You know our laws. But I know you, child. Even if these others do not. You will be better served by keeping silent.
Look, Shiva, the girl's companion. It's that one who offends the land and draws an army to our gate.
Speak your name, foreigner, and be warned that you address the Wicklaren.
My name is Marina Kane. What do you want of me?
You crossed spells with the Red Wizards, foreigner, and drove them from our midst. For that, much may be forgiven. But the Bear God has marched an army of spirits to our gate, and he roars for your blood. He claims that you have defiled his sacred den and loosed an evil upon the world.
And the Bear God does not lie. I can smell the wrongness on you, foreigner. It hangs upon you like a corpse shroud.
The dwarf woman Magda may know more about Liana. I must speak with her.
How do we know that you wouldn't have slain Liana yourself? How do we know you won't do the same to Magda?
Make your peace with the Bear God, foreigner, and we will know you for a friend.
And Magda?
Will be kept safe. From the Bear God's horde, and from you if need be. No witch may stand against the spirits of the land. But I will honor the debt we owe you, foreigner, for defeating the Red Wizards. Go to our prison on the north edge of town. Any convict who is willing to stand at your side will be granted a full pardon.
When this is over, I will be expecting some answers.
We will watch from our high place, and we will receive you again, if you return alive.
So, any non-chat thing like this, I will try and cut through incredibly quickly unless it's super relevant for the plot. We couldn't help it over here. An army of angry spirits await you at the gates of Morsantia. You will perhaps require more help against such a host. My bow and my brother's sword will aid you should you agree to first help us find our lost sister. Kalen Dove. Dove is a name. Why are you all named after animals? Our siblings, there are 5 including Kalen, are known as Menagerie. We adopt the titles of noble creatures out of respect for nature. Menagerie is long traveled together, led by our eldest sister. But since Kalen was exiled from our grandfather's court in Celestia, we have been distraught. Will you help us find Kalen that we may persuade her back into the fold? We need to go and to find this lady, and apparently she's been looking into locating the dead god's vault, which is Miracle Vault, and such has decided to enter Shadow Rosantia, most likely. Apparently, Kalen was a worshipper of Kellamore, and apparently abandoned her faith in Kellamore and turned to Mesa, the maimed god. I won't be rushing through this as much in further episodes, but I'm just trying to get a certain thing done before we finish this part. We found a book in the barrel, and we can go in and speak to this priest. He will talk about the Crusade of the Betrayer, called Akashi. And something that's very relevant for... it is somewhat plot relevant, but it's also quite text heavy. Akashi, or Akashi more likely, was trying to break down the wall of the faceless. Apparently, there is this huge wall which contains the souls of individuals who do not believe in it, or did not believe in any god in their lifetime. And it will eventually absorb them completely and dissolve their spirits, souls, whatever stuff. Yeah. And Akachi was trying to break down that wall because he felt it was unjust. And apparently breaking down that wall would be rather bad for all the planes and all the other stuff. So the fact that Kalen has looked into finding the dead god's vault could perhaps imply that she has been inspired by Akachi's crusade. Anyway, Yusuf the Acolyte. What do you do here? He's just joined and he's disappointed. In what way? I thought the study of necromancy was permitted, even encouraged. Yet it seems that Kellamore now use necromancy as an abomination. Because it is. Previous gods of the dead has no such restrictions, and I thought that Kellamore will retain the viewpoint of its predecessors. Why would you want to study necromancy? Our lives are so short, our bodies so frail, and yet there's so much out there to learn, to experience. Is it so wrong to try to extend our lives even for a little while? Make the most of what life you do have, rather than wasting time looking for ways to extend it. I see your point, but what should I do? My family expected me to join this clergy. I wouldn't want to disappoint them. Overcoming your doubt is simply one of the trials you face. I understand. Thank you. I don't know whether it's story relevant or what, or plot relevant, but I just want to have that conversation with this guy. By the way, the priest doesn't say anything because, yeah. Let's run up to the prison. There are 3 individuals in the prison, and only one of them is relevant. But you will get to experience that for yourself. I will again just quickly go through it because I'm trying to squeeze something into this part. As you have disturbed the spirits, you also disturb me. For what reason are you here? Shaver Whitefeather told me I could find help here against the spirit army. Help from this lot. Trust in their help and you'll find yourself alone when trouble comes. But if you wish to persist in this foolishness, you may speak with the prisoners. Be warned, 2 you need not fear, but as for the 3rd, guard your thoughts. Cool. The 2 we don't have to fear is a warrior who's a hackspot. And he has been imprisoned. He claims to be because he is a hackspawn, not because of the fact that he kills some people. So now he's just waiting to die because he feels trapped by the shame and all that kind of stuff. And there's a rogue next to him, and he says no as well. And he was in prison because he didn't know the local customs, he claimed. No one could have told him that pickpocketing is not necessarily a approved activity, but apparently that's what he was more or less claiming, that I didn't know it was against the law. Okay, whatever. But both of those are irrelevant. The relevant one is gone.
Ah, more jailers come to rattle my cage. Here I was, settling into a relaxing dream. Now you've gone and spoiled it.
What crime have you been jailed for?
My crime? It is a serious one. You see, I am too handsome to look upon. It would not be the first time I have had to place myself behind bars to keep admirers at bay. If that's why you're here, you'll have to wait in line like the rest, I'm afraid.
I'll restrain myself, somehow.
Good. I would not want you to embarrass yourself. I may be a criminal, but I demand that visitors observe a certain decorum in my presence. Otherwise, chaos ensues. But come now. This banter is delightful, but something must have brought you here other than the chance to converse with me.
I'm looking for recruits to protect Molsantia. You interested?
Seeking soldiers, are you? You have come to the wrong cell. I am neither foolhardy nor desperate enough to fight barbarians or Thayans. Go find a poorhouse and scatter a few coppers. That might yield better results.
I need help in fighting a spirit army that gathers outside Molsantia.
The army of spirits is at the gates? So, they have arrived. I was wondering when that might take place in the real world.
You knew this was going to happen?
Now. Knowing and telling are 2 different beasts. And the bear god, he is a 3rd. If I may say, you are rather brave to marshal an army to meet them. That's no ordinary band of spirits out there. That's a hornet's nest of beasts. They're screaming for blood so loudly, I can hear them in my dreams. And I am suddenly struck with the suspicion that the blood they seek is yours. Grave robber, are you? Tisk tisk. One should leave Barrows of the ancient bear god alone, lest he come for you in his garishly colored furry rage. So, entertain me, brave one. Why would one such as I follow you into such a hopeless battle?
Why not come with me? It will be more exciting than person.
Oh, indeed. And how is it you can promise such things?
I promise nothing. I offer you a chance, nothing more.
An excellent rebuttal. I think this bodes well for our travels. Very well. You have a willing soldier at your side. Shall we be off? And please, let us visit the witch warden on the way out, so I can pay my respects to her gentle, loving soul.
We now have a spirit shaman in our group, and he's voiced by Crispin Freeman. And considering the fact that this expansion is from 2009, I wonder whether this is one of Crispin's first roles. Whatever the case, Crispin Freeman, of course, is a voice actor of a certain caliber, and the quality of the voice acting definitely reflects his caliber. Yeah. Anyway, we need to say hi to her. Ah, at last my eyes fall upon you, her beauty, my matron of the cell. This one is cursed for taking you, spawn of hags, and I shall be glad to be rid of you. Nothing but trouble for me, for this city you are. Shall you be glad to be rid of me, beautiful matron? Do not think I do not see the longing eyes you cast at me as you drew your ruined circles on the floor of my cell. What lies are these? Eyes of shame are the only eyes I have for you. Shame! Now, there's no need to mask the feelings I stir in you, and your age but makes you seem wrinkled like a prune fruit. I see what dances in your thoughts as you dream the slow hours of the day here away in the prison. In the golden woods of Erling, you once sang for an hour a hymn to the sun, and dreamed that it was a shield carried by a warrior who watched over you. And such passion in that song. Why, it gives you strength even now. You are a dangerous creature, Dreamwalker. The tales of you all speak such, and many are those you wound with your arrow flight of words and humor. Do not think us deaf to those who suffer because of your careless footsteps in their thoughts and dreams. Get hence from my thoughts, I warn you. It is what she says true? Yes, she speaks truly. I am that which all farmers with ripe daughters fear, the masked brigand who dances in the fires of their sweet children's minds and leave footprints that no wind or time can erase. And old mother, do not think your mind has not laid down paths for me to stroll. Such thoughts in a woman your age, it would put even a farmer's fiery-loined daughter to shame. I so love the writing in this game. You are a thief, a twist of words. Go meet the spirit army then, but you will not have my blessing upon you, now or ever. There will be talky stuff to do, but I will do that in a separate episode. What we need to do now is to, because we got 1,000 experience points for keep getting Roman. For recruiting gun, we need 118 experience points for level 21. And I would love this character to hit 21 before we go and say hi to some spirits. So I want to enter Shadow Multantia and just kill one enemy. That should be more than enough to gain the experience required. And because of previous experience with this game, I happen to know that there is one of the mentioned weak spots. Of course, I skipped through that. The celestial half celestials were mentioning that there are weak spots to bridge the gap between Shadow Multantia and normal Multantia, and it just so happens that one of them should be right around here. Ah, Shadow Portal. There will be a common theme in this game, by the way, to travel between normal and Shadow. The normal room and the Shadow room. Enter the portal. Hopefully she just need one kill. Oh, get enough experience, so got 2,000 experience for just going through here. Cool. So that means we can go back out again. We don't need to go in here just yet. Cool. So let us level up our ranger. She will remain being a ranger. As I said, I can leave armor and weapon as they are and start putting points into diplomacy. No. We try again. Oh well, whatever. Heal. Spot. Survival. Lore and listen. One point to diplomacy, hooray. Neither craft armor or craft weapon needs to be improved further. Heal I chose because rangers do not have immunity to poisons or diseases, and being able to cure those with a healing kit is infinitely less complicated than trying to find antidotes and all that kind of crap. Listen and lore. Lore, identifying items is always nice. Listen, it helps to detect enemies, and of course, because we are a ranger, we can track enemies. You have the option to do something like set trap and all that kind of stuff, which can be cool, but it just requires an awful lot of setup time, which is not necessary. And survival is the skill that directly dictates how far away we can track enemies on the minimap. So, we have gained the feat epic character. And perfect two-weapon fighting. As you can see, it requires 25 dexterity, which we haven't got. The character can make as many attacks with their offhand weapon as with their main hammer weapon using the same base attack bonus. So, and we have to select a feat. And with a bit of luck, a specific epic feat should be available to us. Bane of enemies. Any weapon the character wields against any of their favorite enemies is treated as a Bane weapon for that creature type. +2 to hit and additional +2 to 6 damage. Yeah. So we now have a character that goes from being decent to suddenly having 5 attacks with the main hand, 5 attacks with the offhand, and Bane weapons. So all our favorite enemies will now take +2d6 on damage on every hit. Obviously, I mean, depending on armor class and all that kind of stuff, you're not likely to hit with all attacks, but yeah. This character is going to be a walking katana blender, basically, and that's the only thing that she's going to be. But hopefully she will be rather good at being just that. On that note, I can end this part here, and when we come back to a more normal schedule, we will carry on the adventures of Morena Kane. So as for now, thanks for watching, take care, see you next time, bye bye.